Yes, I know you feel like putting your hands together. And you can also say a loud amen to the prayer that was just said in the second stanza of the Nigerian national anthem. Once again, if you're seated comfortably, please put your hands together for the Lord and for yourselves. And after clapping for yourselves, please now celebrate the best choir in the world, the Christ Church Port Harcourt Choir. Thank you. Your Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Barrister Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike, CON, GSSR, POS Africa, His Excellency Engineer Sheyi Makinde, Governor of Oyo State, His Excellency Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, Governor of Ondo State, the Mayor of Port Harcourt, Honorable Victor Ihunwo, we say welcome.
His Grace, the Most Reverend Henry Ndukuba, Archbishop Metropolitan and Primate of all Nigeria, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, His Eminence Dr. Samuel C.K. Uche, the Prelate Methodist Church of Nigeria, His Eminence Reverend Nsi Eke, the Prelate Moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria, our own very Reverend Jonathan Nsima Ikechukwu Udofia, the Resident Minister, Christ Church Port Harcourt, and members of the Church Council here present, we say welcome.
The Assistant Resident Minister, Christ Church Port Harcourt, the very Reverend Dr. Ivan Ekong, the Assistant Resident Minister, Christ Church Yanagwa, Reverend Canon Seth Akinro, the presidential candidates of our various political parties that have been invited to be with us today, welcome. And also our royal father for today, here present, we say welcome. He is the person of His Majesty, King Edward William Dapper Pepple III, Pericule the 11th, I beg your pardon, Amayanabo of Boni Kingdom, who is ably represented by Chief Barrister Wari Paye Valentine Manila Pepple. Welcome, sir.
Our revered speakers for today, Pastor Itwa Igodalo, Professor Oyelowo Oyewo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Dr. Ifesimama Sekibo, Dr. Ambassador Victoria Ekomu will welcome you.
If you would like to clap at this point, it's very okay. The President, Men's League, Christ Church Port Harcourt, Barrister Sotonye Iyenengi Etomi, and all members of the Men's League, you're welcome. The Chairman, Annual Lecture Planning Committee, and all members of the Planning Committee. The Board of Trustees, Christ Church Port Harcourt, and the Board of Elders, Christ Church Port Harcourt. A warm welcome to you this morning.
The President and members of the Women's League here present, members of the various arms of Christ Church Port Harcourt, our invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome to the Forum 2022. My name is Mwira Mbanefo, a legal practitioner. I'm one of your hosts for today.
And my name is Joyce Daniels, Chairman Hopeful, Eastern Central Local Government of Edo State. You're welcome. To officially do the welcoming and to tell us what to expect today, let's together receive, for his opening remarks, the Forum Planning Committee Chairman, no other person but one of the tallest men in the room today, dressed appropriately in green, showing solidarity for our country, Nigeria. If you have sighted him with your eyes, you can begin to clap as we receive Engineer Stanford Tassier. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's good to have everybody here today. From the north, from the east, from the west, from the south, from all over this nation, there is a clamor. Everybody is clamoring. The youths are clamoring. The children are clamoring. The adults are clamoring. They are clamoring for a better life for Nigerians. People are agitating. They are clamoring for a better change. We are all clamoring for a new Nigeria. With that burden in our hearts, the Men's League of Christ Church, Port Harcourt, through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, decided to stand in the gap. And that's why we are here today. We are standing in the gap with this program called the Forum. The maiden edition was last year, and this year is the second edition. The Forum is therefore a convocation of God's people to discuss issues of nation building, economic issues, issues on comparative developments that will define the future of our nation, Nigeria, with the objective of making the voice of Nigerians to be heard, the voice of the church to be heard as well, to influence government policies and societal norms, and to impact particularly our youths with the right values. The Forum is a one-day international colloquium. The program is designed to assemble keynote speakers and panel discussants from all over the country who are seasoned personalities and captains of industry in both public and private sectors with admirable wealth of experiences under their belts, with different areas of expertise to discuss burning issues as reflected in the topics to be delivered by each of the keynote speakers today. The Forum is a long-term project. We have many objectives. I'll take some of them. Our objectives include instilling good governance and inculcating good values into our polity with a focus on the future generation. It includes influencing government policies and societal norms through communiques and other media and long-term initiatives. It also includes to develop implementable programs aimed at partnering with both public and private sector operators to have a direct impact on the youth of our nation in areas of entrepreneurship, in areas of leadership, in areas of human capacity development, and also in the areas of governance. The Forum is organized by the Men's League of Christ Church, Port Harcourt. Christ Church is an ecumenical worship center that is made up of 3 participating churches: the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, the Methodist Church of Nigeria, and the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria as well. The theme for this edition of this colloquium is, what do Nigerians want? What do Nigerians want is a question tugging at the conscience of the Nigerian state. What do Nigerians want? Nigerians want a better nation. They want good governance. They want purposeful and visionary leadership. They want a Nigerian worth dying for. A Nigerian where justice and equity is extended to all, irrespective of tribe or religious affiliations. A Nigerian that is safe to live in, to raise our families and fulfill our dreams. A Nigeria where lives and properties of our citizenry are protected by the state. In fact, they want a safe and secure nation. Nigerians want a Nigeria with visionary leadership who think, plan, and act with the future generation in mind. A Nigeria with a disciplined citizenry. A Nigeria with a booming economy, where anyone can aspire, dream dreams, and work hard to actualize those dreams. A Nigeria that operates a constitution which every Nigerian can proudly say, yes, this constitution resonates with me. A Nigeria that has great visions and plans for the future generation. A Nigerian futuristic in thoughts and actions. Is this too much for us to ask for? These expectations from Nigerians are neither utopic or idealistic. They have been attained by many nations. Nowhere as endowed as we are in Nigeria with both human and natural resources. These expectations can and will be attained in Nigeria by Nigerians through efforts such as this, the forum, through sincere engagement and mobilization of our leaders and the entire citizenry. What do Nigerians want is a question that will continually be asked by us all until equity, justice, peace, prosperity, visionary and purposeful leadership are ingrained and entrenched in our dear nation, Nigeria. What do Nigerians want is a germane and resounding question. And to attempt to answer this question, we have 4 sub-themes. And they will be delivered by 4 seasoned keynote speakers. Pastor Itwai Igodalo will be speaking on the President Nigeria needs. Dr. Ifiesimama Sekibo will be speaking on the economy Nigeria needs to break forth. Professor Oyelowo Oyewo SAN will be speaking on restructuring and true federalism in Nigeria. Dr. Ambassador Victoria Ikomo will be speaking on the state of insecurity in Nigeria. 3 out of the 4 keynote speakers are physically present with us. Dr. Ifie Sekibo is unavoidably absent. He will be represented by somebody who has a recorded message for us. Can we applaud them for honoring our invitation? After the keynote speakers, it will be the time for the presidential candidates of the PDP, the APC, and the Labour Party to speak to us on their vision and passion for Nigeria, and to take questions from both our physical and virtual audience. You may send your questions to any of our social media handles already advertised for this event, which will also be on the screen shortly. As of this morning, only the campaign organization of the Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, has confirmed that he will join us today. Due to his itinerary, which is very tight, he will join us by Zoom this afternoon. We are still awaiting confirmations from the campaign organizations of Waziri Adamawa, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, and that of His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whom we wrote to the 3 of them. We had meetings with them in Abuja last week. And we are still awaiting their confirmations. So when they do, they will connect with us by Zoom as well. I invite you this morning to sit down, relax, enjoy this auspicious event. May God bless you all. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you. I'm back again. I omitted a very important part of my speech. This time last year, we had our brother who spoke on security issues in Nigeria. He gave us the insight about what is presently happening. It was at that time that the ISWAP killed and eliminated the Boko Haram head, Shakao, and Nigerians were jubilating and celebrating. And he came here and he told us that we shouldn't celebrate, that we shouldn't jubilate, because a bigger demon has taken over from a smaller one. A bigger problem has come. Because the ISWAP was a group that could not be defeated by great armies of the world in the Middle East. How come we are celebrating when we don't even have what it takes to fight Boko Haram. That ISWAP is a more sophisticated army. They are organized, they are visionary, and they are very purposeful in their thoughts and in their actions. He told us all these things. But as God will have it, sometime last year, he went to be with the Lord. So please, may we stand up for a minute silent for our departed brother, Chief Honor Ekomo. May the soul of the faithfully departed rest in the bosom of the Lord. Amen. With us here this morning, people will be wondering what's the relationship between the two Ikomos. Our keynote speaker who will be speaking on the state of insecurity in Nigeria is the wife and the MD of the company that they formed together, the person of Dr. Ambassador Victoria Ikomo. Can we clap for her again? Thank you.
Please put your hands together for our erudite chairman, Planning Committee. Our profound apologies. The Mayor of Port Harcourt is Honorable Sir Allwell Ihunda JP. We're going straight to the presentations.
For us, but the forum was the one that we played at his service of songs. And I recall that when he sent that video to me, it was past midnight. I had been praying. He was struggling for his life. He was struggling to breathe. And when I saw the video and I listened to it, I just burst into tears. I started crying. Why was I crying? This was a man that was on the stage, bouncing, talking to the country, letting them know what they should do. But he was struggling for his dear life at this time. And why did he succumb? One of the reasons he succumbed was because of insecurity in this land. True, he had pneumonia, but he wouldn't have succumbed if he didn't encounter the kidnap, which we both were victims of in this country. That was when Abubakar, the former IJ, Abubakar was IJ. We both were victims of the kidnap. And it affected him. That's where they took me. They shot at his head, but he was able to use his hand to, because he was a judo and karate person, he was able to stop that, and he survived. I think God gave him more years at the time. And because of that experience, he wrote the book, Kidnap, Face to Face with Death. So, and that made him vulnerable, because while I was married to him, he never went to the hospital. But after that incident, he started going to the hospital. So that made him vulnerable. And like most of you will know, my husband was very passionate about security for this country. And anytime he was invited, he went out to speak. And he didn't only speak, he wrote. He also wrote about the Boko Haram, which has been ravaging this country. So when I was called, I could not refuse. I was like, okay, I must continue what my husband has been doing. I must continue the legacy. So I want to thank you all for inviting me, and I want to thank Stanford for asking us to stand to observe a moment of silence, because I was going to do that. So, but since he has done that, thank you very much. And then I was in Dubai about 2 weeks ago. You know, because we are looking at the topic, what do Nigerians want? And then the insecurity, the state of insecurity in Nigeria. I was in Dubai about 2 weeks ago, and I was with a security delegation for Institute of Security Journal. It was a conference that was organized there. It was well organized, but when we were taking a tour, because I was with the Nigerian delegation also going around, the thing that was common to all of us was the beauty of Dubai, the security in Dubai, and the fact that we didn't see policemen all over the place. We didn't see policemen all over the place. We didn't see soldiers wielding their guns around the place. But despite that, commit a crime in Dubai. Just commit a crime in Dubai. They will get you. You go nowhere. The Westerners already even know that. Just commit a crime. In that place, they've integrated technology with the police system in Dubai. So they have the cameras all over the place. Then even when you get to the hotel, they'll take your passport. They'll get the information there. It's not only Dubai they do that in Ghana, just by us here. Go to Ghana. In the hotel you are staying, they'll take the details of your passport. But do they do that here? No. So, and because of what the last king, I know Pastor Itua talked about him, because of what the last king did with Dubai and how he transformed Dubai, Dubai has become one of the number one destination place in the world. When did they start? It's a tourist attraction. People go there all the time, and they make a lot of money from tourism. Is it that we don't have those things here? We do, but leadership. And I think he spoke about that. I am looking at the topic of security. So, according to the Elena's dictionary, insecurity is a state of not being safe or protected. It's a state of general breakdown of law and order, or situation where citizens or a country are exposed to uncomfortable danger, whereby everyone lives in fear and whatever might happen the next moment. A state of anarchy is unleashed on the general populace, and human life becomes nasty, brutish, and short, to borrow the language of Thomas Hobbes. Insecurity is not new to us. If I said my husband wrote about Boko Haram, and he has been writing and he's been speaking, it's been a problem. But it's getting worse. That's the problem that we're having. So the problem is escalating, and we are witnessing unprecedented criminal activities. We have the herdsmen, the Boko Haram, the armed robbers, the kidnappers, the bandits, the ISWAP, politics and religious communal crisis, murderers, destroyers of oil facilities, child abduction and trafficking, secessionist movements are all over. Any paper you know, before, when we want to talk about insecurity, we'll be talking about things that happen overseas. We'll be researching for things that happen overseas. Then even when it started happening here, we'll start keeping the names. But right now, the papers everywhere are washed. It's washed with insecurity. Any paper you take, you can't even keep count of it. And to think of it, a nation that is endowed with both human and natural resources, but suffering, you know. And our borrowed funds, right now we are borrowing a lot of funds. Our borrowed funds for development are utilized for fighting insecurity instead of fostering development. So Nigeria is arguably at war. Several states are witnessing violent conflicts. There's secession struggles in Southeast, banditry in the Northwest and North Central, cultism and gang activities in Southwest and South-South, insurgency in Northeast, herders, farmers, violence in the Middle Belt. Then in recent months, we've had violent conflicts, escalating tensions, having challenged residents to evaluate their security. In fact, when I was going to come here with the different rumors I've been hearing about even the June 12th, I was trying to reevaluate, should I travel? Or should I request to speak on Zoom instead of exposing myself to come here? There were so many rumors. I'm sure you've heard about varying rumors, especially with the different plans that we hear that might be going on. And then to break the peace, you know, when we hear about things happening in the Northeast, the Northwest, the North Central, all of that, it's a little bit far-reaching. But when it comes to us, it's different. It's like the Owo, Ondo State, St. Francis Catholic Church incident that just recently happened on June 5th, you know, where improvised explosive device was detonated by assailants before gunning down over 38 persons. The number, they say, has increased to over 100 people. I mean, they are finishing from church, and just as they are coming, you know, they start gunning them down. I mean, that's horrendous. I know you are a church, so you know what I'm talking about. You know, the multitude of people, even the stampede and all of that has happened, in view of the stampede that happened in Port Harcourt recently, you know, that can cause a lot of, even stampede, even if you didn't get gunned down. And when I saw the photographs and the videos, it's like an abattoir. You know, the way people were just gruesomely killed, you know, when you see the blood and everything. I mean, if you see it, you can't even eat for a while. Then you listen to the prelate of Methodist Church of Nigeria, Bishop Samuel Kalu Uche, recount his kidnap incidents, you know, where after negotiation and paying of 100 million before he was kidnapped, before he was released. And he said they showed him decomposing bodies, you know, when they were negotiating, you know, low amounts. They showed him decomposing bodies. And they had guns to him, you know, ready to shoot him should he not play ball. And they had to quickly get the money. And he even talked about the ages. You know, when these things happen, you know, it's good to also have an idea of the ages. He talked about the fact that they were about 18 years old, those that kidnapped him, but the leader was about 35 years old. And he talked about where they were from. It happened in Abia, but he said they were Fulanis. They were not Abia people. You know, at times when those things happen in an area, you assume that it's the people that did it. But he said the people that did it. And another thing he said that was a little bit worrisome was the fact that he said there was a checkpoint that was by the place and was manned by soldiers. And he was wondering whether they were complicit. So we don't know. But we know, when I read in the papers, I think yesterday, that the military, they are doing their best to get people who are using their uniforms also. You know, there are a lot of people who are parading, who are imposters, using the uniforms of the police, of the military, even, you know, to get whatever they want. But the soldiers in the newspaper of yesterday that I saw that they are going after them, and they said the public should assist them to also get them out. Then we also know that there are also some moles in the military that might also be complicit. So any way we can help the military, at least to ensure that we get these people out, because I would say one of the things I wanted us to say is that we should stand up and honor our military, because you know the military. In a civil democracy, we're not supposed to see them, are we? We're not supposed to see them. They're supposed to be in the barracks. But right now, because of the insecurity in our land, they are playing a lot of roles. They are performing a lot of functions that the police is supposed to perform. And they are overstretched. They are fighting Boko Haram everywhere in the country. I remember even when myself and my husband experienced the kidnap. When I was kidnapped, because I was, apart from the fact that they shot him and he was in the hospital, they took me with them. But who saved me? It was the Navy, the task force. If they were not there, because at that time, if you remember, when IG, the Abubakar was there, a lot of the checkpoints were removed. But the military had a task force. They were the ones, and I didn't know that the Navy was so fearless. They were the ones that saved me when they were taking me. When the kidnappers were taking me, I remember we passed around Abraka or whatever. It was around Abraka, but it was around Warri that I was saved. And it was the military that saved me. So they are performing a lot of roles that they are not supposed to. So they are overstretched. And I would say if we can just clap for the military for what they are doing for us. Thank you. Then another one that was worrisome was a vigilante, a 30-year-old vigilante in Abuja, a federal capital, who was killed in Lube Market and set ablaze for committing what was called blasphemy by an irate crowd group on June 4th, 2022. And that was quite worrisome to me. Then Deborah Samuel. I'm sure you guys heard about the Deborah case. Everybody must have heard about the Deborah case. A 200 level student of Shehu Shagari College of Education in Sokoto, who was lynched and set ablaze for professing her faith in relation to her academic excellence. She said that Jesus was the reason she was doing so well. She just posted it on a class WhatsApp platform. And thereafter, they came after her and invited some fundamentalists into the college, and they beat her, then set her ablaze. And even when they were trying to arrest the people, after they arrested the people, I think there was a protest also. The people started protesting and going after even the Sokoto, that's the Sultan of Sokoto and some other people who condemned what had been done. So there's something like an impunity going on here, I don't know. Then Abuja, Kaduna train killing and abduction of March 28. That has happened since March, and these people are yet to be released. I even know I know the son of one of the mothers that is in that place. And he's ready to even pay anything to get the mother released. But they said they don't want to speak to anybody, that they have a problem with government. But I was happy to at least hear that I know they had released 2 before, and they just released 11. But I pray that they release all of them, because if you recall, there was a time they said they were going to start killing them one by one. So, that's the country that we're living in right now. Then the Southeast, we have the unknown gunmen, and then the sit at home that is affecting the Southeast negatively. Then the Northeast, the hotbed of terror and insurgency for more than 12 years, it still remains unsafe. Then the Northwest is not safe either. You can't even go to Kaduna You can't go to Kaduna by road anymore. That's been a long time. Then the train became what we started using the train and using the air, only for the terrorists to invade the airport. And Azaman airline was on ground and was not allowed to move. I think one person was killed in the process. And even the terror, because of the terror, a lot of the airlines suspended flying into Kaduna. So you can't even go to Kaduna by air. Then the train remained the way people went to Kaduna. But what happened? The train that's on March 28 was now attacked. Thereafter, they're not able to use the train. So I don't know how people go to Kaduna and come back. I know they try to restart that train schedule, but people are fighting against it, saying that the government has not done enough to get those people released. But at times I wonder, why Kaduna? Why are they going after Kaduna? Because Kaduna has a lot of, and one of the things why I worry is we have a lot of military infrastructure in Kaduna. So why is Kaduna still so unsafe? And you remember when that happened, the governor, El Rufai, he complained seriously that when that incident happened, that they should have deployed the Tucana planes to get, to be able to get the people. He was very adamant, and then he said there was one other thing. He said that they hear they get the discussions of the terrorists. They listen. They know their plans. The plans to launch, and he's wondering why they are not going to stop the terrorists in their track. I don't know. All of us as Nigerians maybe can look at why is that happening, because that's a governor talking, about it. Then the ethno-religious violence in the Middle Belt has reignited old animosities and sentiments. So the Southwest, which was relatively safe, now thrown into confusion with the Owo incident. Then Lagos. I mean, when we are in Lagos, we are like, everybody that is having problem in all the states, where do they go to? They go to Lagos. They abandon their mansions in their different states, and they run to Lagos, because Lagos is supposed to be safe. But I don't know whether it's that safe anymore. Our peace was affected when David Uno, a sound engineer, I think a father of two, was on Admiralty Way. He was beaten to stupor by a gang of Okada riders, that's motorcycle riders of a certain extractions, they said. After beating him, and they beat him and his friends, 2 friends. But after beating him, that was not enough. They set him ablaze. That's on Admiralty Way. I mean, it could happen in any part of Lagos, but Admiralty Way in Lekki, Lagos, I mean, for it to happen there, it means it can happen anywhere. So that's a big problem. And then with that, the governor decided to have a motorcycle ban. And even with that, the motorcycle people of a certain extraction, they have been saying they are going to turn Lagos into upside down. And there's been fear, palpable fear, even in Lagos, especially in the sides, in the Lekki axis. We've been scared. They will say Surulere axis. And Surulere witnessed a little problem in Idiaraba. I don't know if some of you saw it, where there was a fight between police and the Okada riders. And they had a little skirmish in Jakonde. So we are still worried, especially after being a victim or a witness of NSAS. I'm sure you guys saw what happened with NSAS. So with that, one gets very scared, because when these things happen, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to run, you know. So that has been very scary. And then this is still with Chibok girls. I mean, if I want to talk about the different incidents, there are so many. There are too many. So I can't even talk about them. So this still with the Chibok girls being in captivity for over 8 years. And Leah Shaibu, have they been forgotten or married off? So is Nigeria a failed state? It's for you and I to look at. I had some videos, some photos here to show. I thought we were going to have a PowerPoint like we said, but even the lawmaker that's in Soludo's in Anambra that was beheaded. So there's a state of fear in Nigeria, and we are resorting to prayers. So Pastor Itwa, please, we need you to pray for us. Because I don't know, you know, we are resorting to prayers, you know. We say can we all become refugees in this country? If you notice, many parts in the north, when they have all these attacks, what's happening? A lot of the people are fleeing and becoming refugees in our neighboring countries. Is that not true? And some are running to other parts of Nigeria. But with what is happening, when you even look at the map, that I have, which I would have shared, you see there's problem everywhere, insecurity everywhere, all dotted. There's nowhere, there's no peace. Like Sokoto was a peaceful place for a long time until Deborah situation occurred. And then there was an uprising thereafter when they tried to arrest the perpetrators of that incident. So it's a problem. So now, what are the methods of attack? How do these people attack? Because you have to have an idea. In security, we call it modus operandi. Because if you don't have an idea, they will just get you. So we have to have an idea. We know already that even during the COVID period, when there was lockdown, there were rumors that a lot of people were being dropped by trucks in different parts of the south into our forest. They are there. So, and we get the impact when we are traveling and then we are kidnapped and then taken into the forest and we see what is happening there. And I even heard that not too long ago, just recently, even in Edo State, they were still dropping people with trailers. So these people, and at times when they bring them, they're holding cutlass. And do you come to visit people with cutlass? And then I'm wondering what's happening to the security network. People come into an area with cutlass, and nobody stops them. No policeman stops them. Then I know the one even Amoteku in the western part, they got some intelligence that buses were coming, and they were able to interdict one out of 3. And the one they interdicted was filled with ammunitions, with sharp, dangerous, poisonous knives, and all sorts of things for war. So they got one, and I don't know whether some of you saw that one. So that is quite scary. So the method of attack, coordinated armed assaults, rocket launchers in some cases, AK-47. I think we have even seen where they are holding AK-47 and having meetings with some people in the meeting. And even at times when Guni is talking to them, You see some people with AK-47. And no one is arresting them, you know. Then kidnapping, IEDs, bombings, car bombings, arson, people raped and decapitated, beheaded, body parts sold, stones set ablaze, mob action utilized, use of military uniforms and vehicles. So actual and attempted attacks against internally displaced persons have happened. Then markets, they've attacked markets, places of worship like we saw at the place, security force installations, we've seen a lot of that, government and educational facilities in Borno and Adamawa. There has been an increase in suicide attacks. That was earlier, they did that. Then many operate from bushes, which are mainly ungoverned. The enterprise is said to be highly organized with top sponsors who armed the pastoralists. Motive, they have a grouse with government. Some claim the Nigerian land is theirs. Boko Haram against education and anything Western. Then we know that the Ruga, colony, and ranches in all states have been attempted unsuccessfully. Then there are not, national data. The 2021, let me just, since I don't have much time, I'll just take only one. January to May 2021, we had about 2,558 incidents. The same period, January to May 2022, we have 4,223 incidents. So you can see that it's escalating, it's increasing. So now we are preparing for election, and we know that insecurity is a major concern for upcoming elections. We know that over 42 attacks have occurred in INEC offices, and a lot of their card readers have been destroyed. Then the implication, Nigeria has been ranked 6th most terrorized country in the world, 3rd in Africa. That's after Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Burkina Faso, Syria, then Nigeria. These are countries that are at war. Then the country, it's not like we haven't been spending on the military. We have been. The allocation for the military has increased drastically. In 2015, about 150 billion was for the army. Then in 2022, 579 billion for army. In 2015, 75 billion for navy. In 2022, 148 billion. Then Air Force, 77 billion in 2015, and then in 2022, 180 billion. So we've been spending, but it's not that we've not been spending, but as we are spending, a lot of it, we are not getting the results that we're supposed to get. If you remember what happened, even when this new government came, they said a lot of the money was embezzled, and they started going after corruption. You know, they started arresting a lot of people. And in this particular dispensation, I think we're still having the same problem, because even the Auditor General of the Federation was said to have stolen, 80 billion. So if he stole it and we've had some snakes swallow some, then we leave the others. Then, as another problem, some governors have been paying bandits before. So when they stop, then there's problem. You know, we don't have the slide to show all of that. So some governors have been negotiating with them and paying them. So now they say pay, and they say they won't pay. So they come and they want to make their lives ungovernable. And then the food security that we are going to have, because people cannot go to farm with these headers, going after them. So what's going to happen is going to affect food security. So we might have to start importing food soon. Then causes of insecurity, pervasive inequalities and marginalization, ethno-religious conflicts, conflict of perceptions between public and government, weak security system, military overstretched and performing many police functions, loss of social, cultural, and communal value system, porous borders, rural and urban drift, unemployment and poverty, and then we have terrorism, frequent strike by ASU and other institutions. Till now, our children are home. Of course, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So they are not in school. So some of them who have some criminal tendencies can also go into crime. Then socio-economic grievances, population growth and pressure on economic resources, climate change. When they talk about the people coming into the country, they say because of the desertification of the Sahel, that's why they are moving south. But at the same time, Nigeria cannot become a dumping ground for everybody. So, and we cannot absorb all of them. And apart from that, if they were even coming and peaceful, there is a different matter. But in this case, they are the places they are coming into, they are making the people that live there refugees already in the north. I'm sure you can see that. So that means soon we get ready to be refugees. The environmental degradation, weapons proliferation, then an ineffective and inefficient justice system that is failing to arrest and punish offenders. At times when they arrest some of these people, they laugh. When they take them to the police, they said they are going to release them. The people they are scared of are those in the bush, those ones that will come after their families. They are not scared of being taken to the police because they know they'll be released. So that's a big problem that we are having too. So, recommendations. Visionary leaders, as has been said, are needed. The country desperately needs leaders with national perspective and an eagerness to change the nation. Good governance is the panacea to Nigeria's insecurity challenge. We need to overhaul our security architecture and put in place a security system that is technology-driven, proactive, and comprehensive and decisive. Then, what Nigeria needs right now? We're saying, what do Nigeria want? Nigeria needs peace. We need love. We need unity. We need hope. We need access to basic necessities of life. And not to debt. We don't need debt. We don't need sorrow. We don't need pain. We don't need hopelessness that we have just been, that we have to struggle with now. So we also need to establish border patrols teams. Like we know our borders are porous. So we have to have border patrols. But we know that we don't have enough men to do this. So what I say is that we should utilize drones. Drones that are manned with cameras, CCTV cameras, that's using technology. So, use that, and even the Tucano jets that they got, use them to patrol these borders. And when they see that, where they see there's a problem, then they address it. But I don't even think it's only porous border. I think we just allow them to come in. Because they don't only come into the border, they move into our urban city, and we see them moving, and nobody stops them. So, but we should use that. Then hire more police, because, the population, if the population is increasing, we need to also increase the police. We can't leave it the way it is. Then, and provide better pay for them and welfare, equipment for them to better perform their function so that the military can return to the barracks. Restructure the Nigerian state, which Doctor has spoken about. Then return to regional system of government, where Nigeria is divided into regions, North, Middle Belt, Midwest, West, and East. And where they take care of their own resources. They own their resources, but then send about 10% to the center and let the center manage that. Because why do I say that? The regions should be closer to the people, and then they'll be able to develop their people. And if they don't develop their people can go after them, Then the regional security arrangements like Amoteku, vigilantes, from what we have seen, have been, I would say, mostly effective. So we need to have more of that working for us. Then the values, the moral and civic education, which we all enjoyed, we older ones, we enjoy that, should be brought back into our curriculum. Then establish state police. Government should seek assistance internationally. If they have to use mercenaries to work with the military to do that very fast, they should do that. Because if you recall, just before election in 2015, when the things became so bad, Jonathan was forced to use, President Jonathan used mercenaries, and he was able to reclaim our territories from these terrorists. So if we have to do that to reclaim our forests and our governed spaces, then let's do that. The equipment should support, equipment and support for the troops. Engage Southeast on a round table, because, you know, they have things like Professor already spoke about. They have grievances. They are part of us. So let's sit down and talk with them, and let's make them feel part of this union. Then the government should encourage the pastoralists from the West African sub-region that have taken over our forests to move to other countries, as Ghana has done, since they have engaged in criminal tendencies that is affecting the fabric of our nation. Thank you.
Some more appreciation for our keynote speaker, Ambassador Dr. Victoria Ekomu, speaking to us about the state of insecurity in our country and what needs to be done. Also spoken very passionately as one who has also been very directly affected by insecurity and the challenges that lie within. A few questions have come in, and we look forward to having our speakers on stage to field very few of these questions. If your hands are still free, please appreciate our speaker once again. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. We've been live on Channels TV for a few hours already, and I know some members of your family, your friends would like to know what you are doing today and how you're spending this Democracy Day. Please go to Channels TV Live on YouTube now, because I know you have YouTube on your phone. Just go to the YouTube app or to youtube.com, look for Channels TV Live, and you'll see us right now. There is an arrow at the bottom of that screen. Please do it right now. There's an arrow there and it's written share. Share it to your WhatsApp status. Put it up there and say, we're at the Forum Nigeria Live 2022, and these discussions are going on. Join us. We are still live. Thank you so much. We'd also like to very deeply appreciate our sponsors for the Forum 2022. Please appreciate Heritage Bank with us. Appreciate Christ Church Port Harcourt. Appreciate Ultra Deep Resources. Appreciate Dudu Bok, Nigeria. And appreciate you who has made it possible to be here. Sponsor above all is the big, grand overall designer, as we call him, G-O-D, God. Please appreciate him with all that you have. In asking the questions, what do Nigerians want? We felt it wise to reach out to the presidential candidates of the various political parties of our great nation to say, what is your vision and passion for our nation? Thankfully, one of our candidates will be joining us via Zoom right now, and we'll be able to see him on the screens. He is the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. He is also the former governor of Anambra State. Please welcome with us His Excellency, Mr. Peter
Obi.
Your Excellency, sir, you are welcome. His camera is on and his sound is on. Please say something so we hear you, sir. One more time, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the Forum 2022. Sir, you have the next 10 minutes, please.
Okay, if you can hear me very well, let me just first most sincerely thank the organizers of this event and everything. I wanted to come to Port Harcourt myself this morning. Unfortunately, because of the public holidays, the flights were distorted and I'm traveling out, so I couldn't make it to Port Harcourt. So I thank you and I thank all those who are participating. And let me most sincerely also thank the keynote speaker. I came towards the end of the speech and everything, I can't but agree with him with everything said about the problems of our country and all that. But I said I have a little of a difference. Why people still want to stay in these places is the collapse and noise failing. I classify it as a failed state. Because if you look at the two ingredients of a failed state, we've qualified for that. The first is when you sway, you are no longer in control of authority. And everybody knows we are no longer in control of our authority today. And the second is when you are no longer in control of the economy. We are no longer in control of our economy. So we've qualified the most important two yardsticks of a first state. Nigeria have achieved that. And that is where we have to start looking at it from. And people say, okay, what, for me, the question I was asked here, because I didn't know, I wanted to listen and know what I was expected to talk about. And people say, what is your vision of Nigeria? There's not a number of things you need to do, or we need to do collectively. First is that I always say, you need to take back the country from where it is now. And taking it back requires a number of things. First, you have to deal with the issue of security. Why, ask question, why do we have a security problem? Why do we get to this stage? It's very simple. It's cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. Over the years, what we've been doing as a country is throwing people into poverty. The consequence is there are over 100 million people today living in poverty. There's no way you can have 100 million people living in poverty and you have crisis. I've said it everywhere. You have more people living in poverty than China and India combined. A population of 2.8 billion, and you have more people living in poverty. There's no way you have this crisis we're going through when you have 35 to 40% unemployment, when combined by unemployment, is over 60%. The number of people that are supposed to work in Nigeria is 120 million. Today, people who are gainfully employed in Nigeria is under 40 million. There are 80 million of people who are supposed to be working, not working. You can go on and on with other problems which the country is going through. The consequence is that you have a place that is unproductive. Nigeria as a country is unproductive. Because when we talk about 18 million people that are not working, 60 to 70% of these is your youth in their productive age doing nothing. With so much energy, so much talent, and everything. So the country is not doing anything. The country is not working. All the country is doing today is sharing. That's the only thing we do in Nigeria. Everybody is looking for what to share. Even when what was sharing is finished, which is why we have a major crisis of debt. The major crisis you face today is you're now in a situation where you're using over 90% of your revenue to service debt. No country, nobody, no individual, no country can survive with that. Of course, if you give an example of what happened to us last year, where virtually all the money we spent was borrowed. First 5 months of last year, our total revenue was 1,847 billion naira. We spent 1,802 in servicing debt. So a country of 200 million people were left with 45 billion. 98% was this in servicing debt. And that's not debt repayment. And you look at the history now, Nigeria has not put one kobo into the sinking funds since last year. So these are crises that were accumulated because of this. So what are you going to do if you have the opportunity of serving? First thing that you have to stop is bleeding. You're going to borrow money. But there must be a law in this country that says all borrowed money must be for investment, not for consumption. We have to move from sharing formula to production formula. The country has full potential. The biggest asset of this country is in the north, the vast land that people have left and that we are going to do this. We are sharing total export last year for your country is under 30 billion, including oil. This is why we are celebrating. It's under $30 billion. A country like Vietnam, with half of our population, 100 million, 1/3 of our land space, Vietnam is on 331,000 square kilometers. We are 923,000 square kilometers. In fact, 6 biggest states of Nigeria combined is bigger than Vietnam, which is Niger at 76.3, Borno at 70.4, then you go to Taraba, 54 point something, Bauchi, Yobe, and go. So, you have a situation, total export last year from Vietnam is $312 billion, out of which manufactured goods is 97%, not any of the natural product. It's manufactured goods. Electronics about something billion, apparel, clothing, which is no rocket science, is 32 billion. Footwear, 27 billion. So Vietnam made more money from footwear than Nigeria was making from oil. Our income from oil last year is maybe about 18 billion. So then from that export, they generated more in terms of export income. We are not getting anything as a nation. And we have all this problem because we are not productive. Our factories are not working. If you look at our manufacturing to GDP contribution today is 8%. For every other developing country, it's about 15. Ours, the age is not even, we're not even sure it's correct. I'm sure it will be lower because most businesses have collapsed. All those who are doing business have met, from Nasima to man to everybody is telling your business problem. You need to bring back immediately, reverse that situation, which you can do as quickly as possible by focusing on your micro, small, medium businesses to be able to support them, and supporting them is not difficult. It's something I know. I came from that. You need to do something immediately about power because you need it to drive this process. Doing power issue is not a problem. Egypt double their power. Egypt double their power. From 2015 to 2021, from 26,000 megawatts to 54. This is the third
Your Excellency, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. We would have loved to ask you some questions, but we'll let you go right now because of your busy schedule. Once again, all the way from the Forum Nigeria, live in Port Harcourt, please let's appreciate him once again. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a few questions for our keynote. All right, so let's mute the Zoom now. Thank you. We have a few questions for our keynote speakers who are here present with us. And to co-moderate this session, allow me welcome architect Duboye Graham Douglas as he comes up. If your hands are free, please welcome him. Thank you, sir. The seat at the extreme is for you, one of the extremes, sir. Thank you. Please welcome Pastor Itwa Igodalo, our first speaker, to come up and sit next to the man who brought him, as he said, so that we will not be punished. Let's make you sit right next to him. Thank you, sir. Ambassador Dr. Victoria Komu, please. Would love you to join us up. Welcome. And of course, our AG from Oyo State, the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Oyelowo. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you, sir. And permit me to sit right here. I'll pass the microphone over to Architect for our first question, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor Itwa, nice to have you here. Thank you very much for your wonderful delivery. It wasn't to do with punishment you came here, it was to do with our friendship, more than anything else. And it goes a long way. My question to you is concerning what you said about those of us being here, being the enlightened, who are self-centered. I'd like you to expand on that and just tell us two things which we can take home to liberate ourselves from being self-centered and have an impact on who we think Nigeria needs as a president. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As I said, there are three main categories of Nigerians: those who are blissfully ignorant, those who are a little bit knowledgeable, but they are more towards loyalty and what they think of, and a lot of us who are knowledgeable, the elites of Nigeria, but we are thinking much more of ourselves, our income, our family, what's the need for us, how do we get our businesses going, and so on and so forth. For example, there is a conspiracy of silence. You know, a couple of years ago, my 60th birthday, I made an announcement. I called out the president. I said, how should he be going to London for medical help when he hasn't built a clinic in Aso Rock? All the medical help he's going to do in London, why doesn't he build a clinic in Aso Rock and bring the doctors to Nigeria? I called out Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I said, why is he even bothering running for presidency? Why doesn't he focus on transforming Lagos? And so on and so forth. I even mentioned the name of my brother and my friend, the vice president. And the next thing I hear, how can you be talking like that? They will finish you. They will do this. They will do that. They will do that. This and that. And everybody went silent. When I went to show up at NSAS to encourage my children who were protesting, not against the government, but against police brutality that we have been talking about, people came up again. Say, you are bold though. How can you go to NSAS? How can you do this? And so on and so forth. Some people even accuse me of disloyalty to the federal government of Nigeria. And again, there's this conspiracy of silence all the time. Because what we're going to eat, what we're going to drink, what we're going to wear, the few houses we're going to buy, consumes us. So a lot of us elites here, we keep quiet. We keep silence in the face of tyranny. And that's what Wole Soyinka said. When there's tyranny and the people are silent, the man dies in the face of tyranny. There's nothing anybody can do to you. Nigeria belongs to all of us. We're citizens of Nigeria. We're not second-class citizens. The truth must be told. Honesty must prevail. We must be fair to one another. We must tell ourselves the truth. And what is not good is not good. We cannot continue to be ruled by a bunch of bandits who do not care about the progress of Nigeria. You heard what Peter Obi said. 97% of our economy, or our resources, or our earnings is being spent on servicing debt for things that we cannot account for. And some people cannot go to school. So a lot of us here have to rise up and begin to speak truth to power, begin to take our place, identify who is a good leader from among these 13 people that have presented themselves, and choose that one person and say, if I perish, I perish.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Very impassionate. My question now is to Dr. Ekomu, please. The big question of ransom, to pay or not to pay. Are we innocently, indirectly funding terrorism? When we hear that ransom of 100 million was paid, we know that almost 100 million worth of ammunition may be purchased. So what do we do? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Still standing on existing. The question of ransom. I know it's become a big question, even to the extent that they just enacted a law that is punishable to pay ransom. And when I heard it, I am against ransom, but at the same time, when you place yourself, because anything you have to do, you place yourself in that situation. Especially remembering that I was in fact a victim. They took me from University of Ekpoma area to Warri before I was rescued. You know, on their way to the creek or whatever they were taking me to, before I was rescued by Joint Task Force. Knowing that my husband had just fought his way out of their nest. If they had found out that I was the wife, just think of what they would have done to me. Is it ransom they would have asked for? Huh? It was on the front pages the next day. They say, security expert shot, wife. So, if they had successfully taken me to the creek, and they saw that front page, that it was in fact my husband that wrestled them, what would they have done to me? Would they have been asking for ransom? Would they have asked for ransom? What would they have done? They would have killed me. But God had other plans for me. So he saved me. I didn't get there. So I was rescued and taken to the Navy base. So when you really, that's why I say, put yourself in that position. If you are there, should they pay ransom for you or should they kill you? That's the question. So much as I'm against paying of ransom, at the same time, it's like being between the devil and the blue sea. Where do you go?
All right.
The two options are bad. If your child is kidnapped, and they say, would you say, oh, I will abide by not paying ransom? Anybody in this crowd, I want to throw it to you. Your child is kidnapped. No, I want to make it practical.
I'm about to answer.
Okay, you want to answer?
Because let me take a leaf from Pastor Itwa. I have a son who will be 20 this year.
Okay.
And we've had this conversation since he could understand English.
Okay.
Number one, you would finish nursery 3. Number 2, you would attend primary 6.
Yeah.
Number 3, you would have 1 or 2 gap years after secondary school. And number 4, if you're ever kidnapped, you will not be paid for.
Okay.
Amongst 5 things established. And why? With scriptures. So asking the question without a foundation of values might be difficult to answer.
Okay.
In my case, we've had 19 years to
talk about
it, to dissect it,
Okay.
to see where Joseph was, where David was, where Daniel was, and what would have happened if ransom was paid or not paid, and how it was converted from bad to good. But we had that foundation. So my heart is strong. So the question now is, how strong are we? Thankfully, we are all here in the faith. Where is our faith?
So that's why I threw it open. Because, like I said, it's between the devil and the blue sea.
The devil who we have power over.
Do we pay ransom? Do we not pay ransom? So it depends on who is there. When I heard that, are we supposed to even be subjected to this situation where we are having to pay ransom?
No.
Also, I'd like to.
It's become a daily thing. It's happening every day.
I'd like to also say something about this. I think the very problem we have is that from the very onset, it was not nipped at the bud.
Yes.
If from the beginning, people had not paid ransom for people who were kidnapped, this kidnapping extravagance would not have happened again, would have stopped. That is what the problem is. But however, now that it is here, it needs to be approached very delicately, and I still believe that it can be nipped in the bud. Thank you.
Yeah. So, you know what I said? I said I do not believe in paying ransom. But the problem is that the job of government is in fact to protect you and I.
Yes.
But are they protecting us? At the time I was a victim, there were no checkpoints. Yeah, I'm sure you remember the time when Abubakar was IG. The checkpoints were, they collapsed. They didn't have them. So you were just you were at their mercy. And now it's getting worse and worse, and nothing is being done. Meanwhile, you see the influx of these foreign people still coming into this country. Nobody is stopping them. So that means we are still at their mercy. So I think we should go to the root and stop them. And like I said, if we can get them out, which we can, it's just the political will to get them out. But we have not decided to get them out. Maybe we'll get a leader who is ready to get them out.
Amen.
So that we can sleep and travel. Because I like to go to my village, but I don't go anymore. Even to go and pay visits. So my husband was buried in the village. But I'm scared to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine that. My children want to go, but they're scared to go. Can you imagine something like that? So I think something has to be done about it.
Right.
If we cannot sustain this, it has to change.
Thank you. Thank you. Please appreciate Dr. Ekomu. Thank you so much, ma'am.
The next question is for our prof and son. When you delivered your speech, you talked about certain things which were on the exclusive list. I think people did not respond because they didn't understand what the exclusive list is. and who is responsible for putting things on the exclusive list. Could you please explain and expound on it so that people could have a better understanding of what the exclusive list is? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I also stand on the exclusive, already established protocol. Now, that's the challenge about being a keynote speaker. You prepare a big, fat, so many pages of what to say, and then you have 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You start getting 5 minutes more, which scatters all that, and then you start jumping. Now, this will be Constitutional Law 101. I'm not going to charge you for it. When you talk about the list, each country has its own design about the way it uses its constitution to share power amongst the levels of government. In Nigeria, our sharing of power is done both enumeratively in the provisions of the Constitution. So if you look at Section 4 that talks about the legislative powers, it now specifies what sphere of powers is given to the federal government and the state government. And it now refers to what we call the legislative list. We have two kinds of legislative list specified in the Constitution. We have the exclusive legislative list, and in Section 4, those are matters that are exclusively, to use the word, within the competence of the federal government. This exclusive legislative list, the state government cannot legislate on such matters, and consequentially, executive implementation falls within the federal under Section 5. Now, for the states, also in Section 4, we have what you call the concurrent legislative list. And it's interesting that the concurrent legislative list specifies subject matters, and in these subject matters, it delineates, it sets apart, this part of this belongs to the federal government. So if you take education, for instance, tertiary education up to university level, federal government is prime in it, whereas primary education belongs to the state government. Indeed, the federal government also finds its way into primary education, UBEC, Universal Basic Education, provision. But there are provisions in the concurrent legislative list that belongs to the states. Now, the question is, what happens if the federal government and the state government legislate on the same subject matter on the concurrent legislative list? Now, remember that I said that the federal government has exclusivity on exclusive legislative lists. They share concurrent legislative lists. Where there is a conflict and the federal government evinces an intention to cover the field, there is what you call the principle of covering the field. In other jurisdictions, they call it the principle of preemption. And what it means is that the state government is preempted, or the federal government has covered the field, and which means that the federal government also has the preeminence on that matter, because the law of the state will be kept in abeyance and the law of the federal government will apply. So what it means in essence is that in addition to the exclusivity of the federal government in exclusive legislative list, it also exercises exclusivity based on the principle of doctrine of covering the field on matters that both the federal government and the state government have concurrence. So which means that it's bad enough that federal government has this exclusive legislative competence. It now also has exclusivity where there is a conflict between it and the state. Now, the good thing is that since our government is a government of enumerated powers, what is not specified in the exclusive legislative list and not specified in the concurrent legislative list becomes what you call residual matters. And thank God, the state government has jurisdiction on residual matters. And you'll be surprised, even on residual matters, federal government will try to get into it and use some provision that says that it can establish institutions, or some provisions of fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy to create institutional competence on residual matters.
So, sir, please let me just jump right in. 3 things on the exclusive list that should not be there. Number 1.
Number 1, power.
So the federal government is 100% responsible for
For
power.
power, transmission, and all that. Except the ones that are in rural Europe. So that is going on now. There's a reform to remove that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second thing on the
railway.
list. Okay. And a third?
So federal government has exclusive registration of companies.
Okay.
You know, so every company must go to Abuja. Why can't you register a Port Harcourt company in Port Harcourt and the revenue come to River State? So those are matters that should be, and there are so many of them, but these are just some of the, and then when it comes to bearing of arms, federal government is the one that says you can have arms and you cannot have arms. So even the state police that we are establishing like Amateku, they can only have Shakabula. Otherwise, it comes under the firearms, you know. So there are so many of them, but I think we need to deal with them.
Can I just ask? You said
Minerals,
please, let me.
Yes, minerals.
Okay, like you said, the federal government is the one that determines who carries arms.
Yes.
But in this case, with all the bandits, all the herdsmen,
They belong to federal
and
government.
they are on video. At times they are with these dignitaries with their AK-47.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it in your presentation.
You get what I'm saying?
You mentioned
Is it that they are authorized to carry? Because they are not arrested when they are carrying
They
this.
belong to federal government.
No.
I didn't say that.
No, please.
I'm trying to ask.
No.
Because if you are saying it's exclusive to the federal government,
Yes.
and
We are
you know,
talking within the terms of legitimate exercise of powers.
Yes.
There is the concept which he mentioned, which is the concept of proliferation of small, arms. And there are some people who carry these small arms, and that is the point that the presidential candidate mentioned. And that is one of the attributes of a sovereign state is that it has the monopoly of control, of power, of coercion. In Nigeria, that has failed. If somebody is carrying arms illegally and nobody challenges him, that means that the state is to blame if that person uses that arm.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, in the case of Reverend Father Mfra against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the ECOWAS court found Nigeria in failure of maintenance of its power of security. And he ordered for Nigeria to take steps to make sure that those who illegally carry arms are disarmed and to provide security for all persons. Why? Because one of the primary duties of the state government, federal government, is the protection of life and property. So if anybody is carrying arms unlawfully, it behoves the state to apprehend the person because there are laws in our statute book that will send that person to jail. So it is the failure of the state. It's a phenomenon that is recognized, that is common, within areas where there are terrorism. The state loses control over the control of arms that the terrorists carry.
Thank you so much, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you, sir. Our final question, just because of time, goes to Pastor Itwa. This question has been recurring by some of us here. How, in very practical terms, do we hold government accountable? And now that we're going into the next election cycle and many of us are going to support a candidate or the other, how do we build the path toward holding them accountable when they're sworn in about this time next year?
It's possible, but could be a bit tough. And we Nigerians have to take some very, very tough decisions. First of all, illiteracy has been weaponized. So a person that does not know good from bad, right from wrong, what GDP is, what a budget is, what government is supposed to do, it will be difficult for that person to hold government accountable. A lot of people who are armed robbers, who are carrying things up and down, selling things on the road, people who cannot go to school, people who don't have medical care, cannot relate their poverty, their situation, their circumstances to that man that drives on the road with siren and 12 or 15 car convoy. They cannot relate it. They think that the man is just doing his own in wherever he is, and they're just condemned by God to be suffering and selling things on the road, that it is the will of God. They do not know that because this man has taken their budget and their money and he has bought a house in Port Harcourt, bought a house in Dubai, bought a house in London, bought a house in Lagos, bought a house in Abuja, and he and his children are living large. That is why they cannot go to school. So they don't hold him accountable. They don't think about it. So the first thing for us who know a bit better is to spend a bit of time, money, and effort educating the people who do not know. There must be education and information. The second thing for us is that instead of going all over the place begging these people for contracts, is to hold them to their promises and continually evaluate them. When your governor or your president stands up and makes a speech and tells you that this is what they have done, go outside and look and see if this is what they have done and if you have gotten value for money. And you have not gotten that value for money, come out and say it. You know, there's a place in London called the Hyde Park Corner. You go there and say whatever you want. Go and say it on the press. Go and say it in the TV. This governor, you said you built this road for 120 million. By the time we looked at it, we think you spent 20 million on it. I can tell you categorically that we get only a small fraction of whatever any governor or government says they have spent on anything. And we keep quiet and we accept it and we don't talk. A governor has a convoy of 15 cars. You want to jump in the 16th one and to be part of the convoy because you are the governor's friend. You go to government house, they serve you champagne, and you're not asking him where he got the champagne from and whose money he's using to buy the champagne. We are all culpable. Every single one of us sitting and listening today, we are culpable because we tolerate a lot of these things and we go back and vote that same person in power the next time he comes back asking for your votes. You don't ask him what he did the last time. You're like one of the governors whose father said, you are a thief, you will go to jail. Then the same father said, if a man hasn't performed well, let him repeat the exam. Let him repeat the governorship. We must be able to speak truth to power and deny ourselves some of the comforts that we want. After all, how many cars can a man drive? How many houses can he sleep in? How many clothes can he wear? What are we looking for in life? They stole a 100-year-old woman the other day. They gave her money. She gave them the money back. She says, at my age, I don't need money. How much land does a man need? We cannot stop looking for all these things, and therefore we cannot hold people who should be serving us. We cannot hold them accountable because we also want to be like them. So practically, we must talk to ourselves. We must tell ourselves the truth. We must look at one another in the face and tell them that these things cannot continue. These people cannot continue to hold us to ransom. The tail cannot continue to wag the dog. And we must say to them, enough is enough. Let me say one last thing, or two last things. I was speaking to one of the leaders of Nigeria, and I was asking him, how do we solve the problem of Nigeria? And he was looking at me and he was shaking his head. He says, Nigeria has not got to the precipice and to the bottom of the pit where people will now rise up and say that enough is enough. The reason that Japan became transformed and China became transformed is that when they were totally oppressed by the British and they were given alcohol and drugs and the economy was going to be destroyed and they no longer knew where to go, every Chinese man rose up and said, enough is enough. And they said, never again will our country go through this kind of problem where we don't know where we're going, our left from our right, and where economy is going. You know, a lot of us Nigerians were so tolerant. You know, the other day they wanted to sell me another passport and say I should buy the passport of Mauritius or buy the passport of somewhere, so when push comes to shove, I can jump on the plane and run away from Nigeria. I said, I'm not buying. I said, Nigeria belongs to all of us. A lot of you I'm looking at, you have second passports also. You have alternative, you have plan B. So you are not at that place where you want to say to the government and the governors of Nigeria, stop it. Enough cannot be enough. You cannot continue. When this man didn't do well in 2019, why did you bring him back? And you brought him back. You voted for him. Or you didn't go to vote. You stayed in your houses watching soccer, watching this thing, getting on with your wives and your children and your this and that, and you allowed him to come back after 4 years of disgrace and mess up and bring in our economy.
Thank you, sir.
Honestly, you know,
Thank
don't
you
bring
so
me
much.
here again.
Thank you, Pastor.
Honestly, let us tell ourselves the truth. It is us elites that are the problem
Pastor
of
stood
Nigeria.
up. Oh, my Lord.
It is us elites. We refuse to face the devil in the face and tell him to buzz off. We sit in our comforts, looking for small things to get on. If we don't talk to ourselves and tell ourselves the truth, Nigeria will go to the dogs. We know who is a good leader in Nigeria. Yet we will not vote for him because we want to vote for loyalty, we want to vote for somebody here and there, we want to vote for our own benefits and things like that. No, we must vote for the truth. And we must look for the people who are truthful. And the problem is that the people who are truthful will not have the cash to be running up and down buying $100 million. It's not possible.
Thank you,
We
sir.
need to go and look for the people who are truthful people and bring them to the fore and say, this man, we will back you up.
Or this woman.
Or this woman. She's
Hallelujah.
running for local government. Please vote for her. But I think you shouldn't be in Port Harcourt running for local government. Go back to my
I
village.
live at home. I was
Very
brought in here, imported,
Very
cha-cha, just for this. I live in Benin City, and all the time I'm back home. That's story for another day. SAN, you have a contribution as we round off, please.
I just wanted to add to this because there are formal and informal channels of being able to bring accountability to bear. One of the formal process is to ask the question, how many of us here belong to political parties? How many of us belong to any political party? So that's the problem there. Because the political party is the formal place where ideas and government can be put in place. And if you don't belong to, every person elected comes from a political party.
Yes, sir.
So if you don't belong to a political party, you have lost. You can't be a delegate, okay? Then the other channel will be civil society. Those of us who are NGOs, how many of us belong to civil society, NGO, professional body, all the arts? So that's another. Make sure you are active. You occupy the space, and you keep on to have a message. And then religious body. This forum, for instance, is an act in the right direction. It's a very laudable act in the right direction. We are speaking to power. We are able to bring people to come and speak their mind. A presidential candidate at least spoke to us. That is an act in the right direction. Then we talked about illiteracy. I found out that most of our people, once we become elite, we disdain our local language. We try to think that our accent, will be affected. I would try to think that because I am Yoruba, my English will be Yoruba language is very, very musical. It doesn't matter. You can still go back to your phonetics or whatever. But we owe it, education, to understand both in your local language and in your colonial matters language gives you a vantage position to educate the other persons. I always find it interesting when I'm forced. Nowadays, I'm forced because I live in Ibadan. I'm forced most of the time to speak the local language on platforms, and I found out that it's like a bicycle. It's there. Just get on it, and you are going. So you are able to carry the message. We owe ourselves to also speak the truth uncolored. And so when you want to share on social media, please find out whether that thing is true. If it's not true, don't share it. A lot of us share garbage and recycle things that are not edifying and that are not truthful.
Thank you, sir.
And in your private space, educate members of your family. If you are the one that's politically savvy, don't be intolerant with your wife when he's asking elementary questions. Men are like that. Ebiko, sit down for there. You don't understand what we are talking. Let her understand. Yes. Because she's going to vote. And there was a year I explained something to my wife. She disagreed with me. We got to the polling vote. She voted for her candidate. I voted for my candidate. I was very happy.
Yes.
So let's explain things. We owe it a duty for each and everyone. You know, they say little drops of water becomes a mighty ocean. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Final words, Doctor?
Thank you very, very much. I want to thank all the organizers and everybody here. At this time in our nation's history, I would say the delegates have done their own. Now it is time for us to do our bit, to choose the leader that will take us to the next phase, especially at this time, when the nation is at the precipice, when the insecurity is overwhelming us. We don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. At times I ask, are we going to make it to 2023? So when you have a choice to choose the leader, I want to ask, let's not just take that 5,000 naira, that 10,000 naira, that bag of rice, the bag of beans that you eat right now, and mortgage your future, mortgage the future of your children, mortgage the generations, mortgage this nation. What is going to be on the line this time when you choose is whether the country, Nigeria, survives as one, as a nation. If we choose wrong, we'll have ourselves to blame.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Major takeaway that is woven amongst what all the responses is, we must hold ourselves accountable first, and we must not be afraid. We must do things without fear. Please appreciate all our speakers, our keynote speakers for today and panelists. As we rise for a group photograph, please, I'll invite the president of the Men's League to please join them, and the chairman of the planning committee, the annual lecture planning committee. Where is he? I know he was here a few moments ago. To please come join them in this quick shot to savor the memory to asking the question, what do Nigerians want? If it's been a great event so far for you, please put your hands together. For the entire Men's League for putting it together. We still have one video coming up right away. Please, the very Reverend Sir, our resident minister, please welcome him with an applause as he comes forward. Thank you, sir. we looking at? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. A round of applause once again, if you don't mind. Yes. Our final keynote for today comes by way of a video and speaks to the topic, the economy Nigerian needs to break forth. We've talked about the leader, we've spoken about the security, and we've also spoken of the law and restructuring. So now the economy. Our speaker is also the lead sponsor for the Forum 2022. And that is Echo. Thank you. And that is the CEO and Managing Director, Heritage Bank, in person of Dr. Ifyesi Mama Precious Sekibo. He was unable to make it, and so he has a video prepared that will speak to this topic. The speaker is Mr. Segun Akonji. Please keep your eyes on the screen. Thank you.
that kind of opportunity to the mass of our people. Because a prosperous country is a country where the mass of the people enjoy the good life. So if we're talking about strategies to boost economic prosperity, I think one of the things we all say is that no peace, no prosperity. So on that note, I would say security is the foundation of prosperity. And so you cannot achieve
We're going straight away to the communique, the presentation of the communique. I have the pleasure to invite Mr. Moffat Ekoriko to come and present the communique. Please, a round of applause for him.
Thank you. I would have preferred to stand, but I'm asked to sit and do it. Okay. The distinguished guests, the speakers, and members of the audience. I'm here to present the communique of what has been the proceedings of the second edition of the International Colloquium, the Forum, with the theme, What Do Nigerians Want? The colloquium today has looked at what the problems of Nigeria are. And Nigeria is still suffering as a result of the release of colonialism, the political structure we have, the current constitution, which a lot of people say are not fit for purpose, huge and endemic poverty, ignorant religious violence, increasing debt-to-revenue ratio, loss of national territorial integrity, chronic corruption and impunity across the country. We still do not have the kind of leadership we would love to have. Our leaders are still beset by nepotism. There is the lack of connection between the leadership and the people they are leading. There is a prevalence of huge clusters of population caught in unfortunate intergenerational poverty cycle. In other words, we are not creating opportunities for upward mobility for most of our people. And then the current configuration of the Nigerian Federation is not fit for purpose. People can't really say whether we are running a true federalism or not. What are the solutions? What kind of country do Nigerians want? We want a country with leaders with vision and national perspective, boldness, exposure, seven-minded mindset, strategic direction, compassion, and the competence to deliver to the aspirations and happiness of the people. We need security. We need good transportation networks. We need power to be able to grow the economy. We need to secure our borders. We need good physical infrastructure. And we need to create socioeconomic opportunities for the largest possible number of people. We need to enact a system of regional government that works. Government should be able to work at all levels. And we need a country with the right moral and civic education. We need to rebalance the constitution to accommodate the restructuring process. We need to grow our economy. We need to improve the social indices. What is the roadmap? The roadmap is number one. Competent people need to get actively involved in determining the leadership and the direction of the country. It is one thing to complain, it's one thing to say these are the things that should be done, but it's another thing to get involved so that we can get it right. We need to work out the right type of federation. The colloquium believes that if we can have true federation, then different units of the country should be able to grow. And the whole country will gain at the end of the day. We need to move from borrowing for consumption to borrowing for production. Nigeria is perhaps one of the few countries in the world where the country borrows not to invest, but to consume. Whether you are talking of full subsidy or even the debt we are incurring to service our recurrent budget. We need to increase our investment in human capital development. We need to invest in education. Finally, we need to develop a consciousness of holding our leaders accountable. That is the abbreviated communique. The full one will be released and published in some national newspapers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please, let's put our hands together once more. Thank you, Mr. Ekoriko. Just a few announcements. We have for sale, it's a publication of the Men's League of Christ Church. It's called The Christian Message. It goes for 1,000 naira. So please, on your way out, do well to pick a copy and pick a copy for your friends as well. We're almost winding to a close. Permit me, with very profound respect, to invite the president of the Men's League, Christ Church, Port Harcourt, Barrister Sotonye Etomi, for the vote of thanks. Please put your hands together for our president.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my task at this point is a very simple one, and it is just to say thank you, everyone. However, you agree with me that just doing that will be inappropriate. And so permit me to be specific to some key stakeholders to this event. First of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty God for bringing us to the end of this event peacefully. And of course, for giving us a fair weather. Please put your hands together for the Almighty. And I'm sure we've all enjoyed it. Furthermore, let me thank all the keynote speakers for their insight and in-depth research and for their deliveries of their presentations. Thank you, keynote speakers, and we say God bless you. We'll further go on to thank the heads of churches who have supported us. From where they were, they have always been, and today, they also showed that support to us. I want to thank the Church Council of Christ Church, particularly the ministers, the resident minister and the assistant resident ministers for all the support and the prayers, towards this program. Furthermore, I'd like to thank the members of the planning committee. It actually took a lot of sacrifice of time, resources, finances, sleeplessness. But at the end, we thank God that things have gone successfully. Thank you very much for your sacrifice. We just heard the communique. I want to thank the group and members of the communique committee for a job well done. There are a lot of young people, young persons who are standing all around us. They are actually volunteers from the church and from outside the church to ensure that things go smoothly, in this event. To you youths, bravo. Thank you very much. And let's continue to have volunteers who will continue to make sacrifices for this country. And of course, to all of you, such a wonderful audience you have been. Clap for yourselves. Thank you very much. God bless you. To the media and others, and everyone who has played a role to make this event a success. I want to say God bless you. Thank you very much. And as we all go back to our different homes, my prayer is that the Lord will take us back safely and remain blessed in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Oh, okay. Sorry, further pictures are here.
Please, one more photo session with Mr. President of the Men's League, the chairman of the annual lecture planning committee, our keynote speakers, and the representative of Dr. Ifie Sekibo, who is the regional head, South-South and Southeast at the Heritage Bank, Mr. Fribene Briggs. Please come up for one more shot. Thank you so much. All ministers here present, ably led by our resident minister. Please join in this shot. Thank you, sir. Assistant resident ministers here with us from Port Harcourt and Yanagwa. Thank you so much, ma'am. Please, the President, Women's League. We'll ask that you join us on stage.